Let's talk about urbanism in the countryside. This is a big road. It's wide and it's fast. It's not very nice to bike or walk on, but at least it has a wide shoulder and a bike gutter, until it doesn't. This is a country road. Some people think that these are nice to ride a bike on, but it's almost as fast as a big road and it has no shoulder. If a driver is staring at their phone or is just a jerk, it's not fun at all. Or it's deadly. And this is a Raha road. It's beautiful. It's a joy to ride on. It's a joy to walk on. It's even kind of fun to drive on. The drivers you do meet are mostly farmers. Best of all, drivers are careful because it's full of nature's speed bumps, otherwise known as potholes, and going too fast will mess up their car. Likely as not, they're in a nice, slow tractor anyway. The very best Raha roads have a green strip of life down the middle, which only grows when car traffic is light enough that cars don't obliterate all life below them. They're quiet enough to hear the wind through the leaves, birdsong, mooing, whatever sound alpacas make, or whatever's their jam. I would never let my kid ride on a big road or a country road. I pass the memorial where a texting driver killed a kid on a country road almost every day. But I would let them ride on a Raha road. Raha roads go more places than you might think. I can take Raha roads most of the way to the train station, most of the way to town, and most of the way to my kid's school, but not all of the way. They have a frustrating tendency to suddenly stop, and usually won't go over a river, motorway, or train tracks. Of course, the really sad thing is that we used to have lots of Raha roads. They were just called roads. For centuries, we had a network of roads where you could walk, ride a horse or donkey, drive sheep and cattle, and once bikes were invented, ride a bike on. And then we completely obliterated it by smearing them with tarmac and letting drivers loose on it. In the process, we basically imprisoned anyone who doesn't drive on pain of death. People like kids, older people, which includes all of us someday if we're lucky, or even me after a pint. I have 3 pubs a 10 minutes walk away, but I never go to them because it's not safe to walk there. Aside from making it easier to go to the pub, Raha roads help people meet others in their community. An old, disused bog road by me was turned into a Raha road by the National Park Service, and I met more people in 6 months of walking there than I did in 4 years living here before. I've talked to older people who live on country roads, and they describe how decades ago their families would walk and bike to town on the same roads I've been showing you that are too dangerous now. It's too dangerous because some council couldn't help but upgrade them, but when they did that, they didn't bother to think about anybody not in a car. Or they just didn't care. I asked a local councillor about getting a footpath to the village 800 meters away, and he just laughed and said if we did that, we'd have to build them everywhere. No wonder kids don't go outside like they used to. People tell me, but Ireland is rural and low density, it needs cars. And I'm not saying rural areas will be car-free, but normally people grunt about biking and walking not working in the Irish context as a way to say that taking 1 single centimeter of road space so that kids can bike to school without dying is a personal affront. But as it happens, one of the few upsides to having super low density one-off housing all over the place is that it often comes with these lightly trafficked, narrow roads, the raw ingredients for Raha roads. If it were safe to bike, the catchment area for train stations, even in rural places that are uneconomical to serve with buses or local trains, could be increased dramatically. With Raha roads, we can change "it's too far to walk, I have to drive" to "it's too far to walk, I can ride a bike, or a cargo bike, or a scooter, or a post bike, or a velomobile." Fortunately, the government has a proposal to build bike routes all over rural Ireland called Cycle Connects, link in the description. But the Cycle Connects project makes the mistake of trying to tack things onto main roads and not Raha roads, almost like someone half-assed it right before a deadline. They could be great if they build Dutch-level bike infrastructure, but they won't, considering the rubbish they waste active travel funds on. What they could do is sort out issues surrounding rights-of-way, route connectivity across train tracks and river, and figure out how to place routes that are far enough from busy roads to feel safe from traffic, but not so isolated to worry about you or your kid biking on it alone after dark. I don't actually want Ireland's bike network to be a bunch of potholy roads in the countryside, but I also know that right now it's the only thing we have aside from greenways, and we should make better use of them. I hope someday we have Dutch-level routes covering the whole island, but for now, let's make Raha roads as good as we can. Ireland has a low population density, and rural areas aren't going to be the same as Amsterdam. But right now, the minute a Raha road gets upgraded, rural Ireland becomes a worse place to walk or ride a bike. Let's do better.